Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hell in the Cell 2015 preview and predictions.
Yo, what's going on, guys? John, aka VocalAggression, here alongside my cohort and commentary action for our Hell in a Cell 2015 preview and predictions. Very interesting card, and the word interesting shouldn't be conflated with exciting, even though I am somewhat excited for this show.
That
Particularly
makes
one,
one of us, brother.
particularly one match in particular, which we will get to later. That being John Cena's U.S. Open Challenge.
Which
But
is the only match on this card I give two craps about, or even a
re-
single crap about.
Interesting. But of course, as is per usually the case, I'm certain that when me and Ashton get done discussing this card, even if he seems pretty downtrodden about it, I'll come out feeling even more excited. So, partner, you already kind of spoke somewhat about how you feel about this show. You care to elaborate on those thoughts?
Yeah, John, I mean, you know how a lot of the time when we were still reviewing Raws, and just a reminder to everybody, we will go back to doing that after TLC. We just want to skip over the crap. Um, I would always take that night's Raw and tell you how I felt about it on a scale of 1 to 10, right?
Right.
How would you feel your hype level is for this pay per view on a scale from 1 to 10?
Well, we usually go over hype levels, right, when we do preview and predictions. So I'd say my hype level right now, if I'm being honest, I'd say it's anywhere from like a 5 to a 6.
I'm at 3.
Wow. So like half mine. Like at best. That's pretty
At
crazy.
best. At best, yeah.
Yeah. That's
So,
nuts, man.
yeah, there's really. Do you remember how downtrodden we were after Extreme Rules 2014? How it felt like it was an alright show, but then the following night on Raw, literally nothing happened at Extreme Rules because it turns out that every single match had zero consequences and they ended up having a bunch of repeat matches on the following pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
This is that pay-per-view. There is going to be absolutely nothing coming out of this pay-per-view with one exception, and the exception to that rule is one that I didn't care about coming into the show because it's Taker Lesnar and I just don't give a crap.
Right,
I
okay.
haven't cared about this feud since it was supposed to happen at SummerSlam, and now it's happening again, and I care even less about it.
Let me ask you something. Just get out of the way right now. What side are you on of the people that are tentative to believe that this is the last time? Do you think this is really the
I
last
think,
time?
well, is it the last time? I don't know. Is it the last time in this specific feud, meaning they won't touch again for a little while at least? I think so.
I agree with you. I'll just put it out there now because I know that's
I
actually been
know
a
a lot of
debate.
people are tentative because of what they did with Rock Cena. Once in a lifetime, make it twice. But yeah, I do think that this is going to be the blow off to this feud.
I think what makes my hype level so low. It's funny because, and like, I don't know if you want to transition getting right into it, but you look at the kickoff match, right?
Let's
And
get
you've
into it.
got, yeah, so you've got Ziggler, Cesaro, and Neville on one team, Barrett, Sheamus, and Rusev on another. All six guys in one way or another, I would say, is very talented. I don't want to go and make scales and like who's more talented than the other, but I think we can all agree six solid guys altogether.
Yeah,
And
and the crazy thing too is that we've got names like Cesaro and Neville in here, and even if we would try to make a scale of who's the most talented to who's the least most talented, because they're all incredibly talented, I would honestly struggle to make that scale because they're all extremely talented. A few of them in very different ways, but they're all up there.
right, and I think it's a shame. Not saying that this won't be a fun match, but here's why I wanted to like make this parallel on why my hype is so low. You take these talented guys, this talented crop, you throw them all together in a six-man tag, and yet you've got a near 50-year-old Kane in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship picture against Seth Rollins.
And you've got two older guys, or at least one 50-year-old and then a near 40-year-old main eventing the show.
Exactly. So that I think is WWE in a nutshell. Like this pay-per-view is interesting in the sense that like when you really examine it on paper, you can really see all of WWE's problems like in one card.
Yeah.
Because you have these six guys, no direction. Let's just put them in a six-man tag. And then the guys that Lesnar, at least the genius of his booking is that he's an attraction, which I feel like when you do get up in age but you still want to work, you should go into attraction territory, not show up all the time, not have that overexposure. So at least Lesnar has that going for him. But like you said, Taker is like, either nearing 50 or he is 50. Kane, again, nearing 50. And these guys are in prominent spots on the card, and you wonder why people get disgruntled. And this is what's always angered me about WWE. This match right here, this kickoff match shows that WWE has the talent, but they just can't put the pieces together. And that's really a shame, too, because if you know, like, the preceding months, I think up until very recently, I was always defending the booking of Neville, saying, oh, they're handling him right and this and that. He's going at a good pace. But I feel like the train has just come full stop, and I'm just kind of indifferent to him like everybody else. You know, I've been soured on Ziggler. Rusev I really like, and I still think he's better than what he's doing right now. But to keep focus on this match, you know, it's the kickoff match. I gotta give it to the baby faces because I think they won this match on Raw. That's another thing too. This is a repeat match from Raw, so you know that's nice. So you know I'm gonna go with the whole theory: win on TV, lose on the pay-per-view. At least for this one match, I'm gonna say the baby faces go over here.
Yeah, I'm going to swerve you a little bit here. I think the heels are going to win because I think Tyler Breeze is going to distract Ziggler and allow him to get pinned.
You know what? That I like that idea. Certainly, you know, keep the feud going.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes all the sense in the world to me. So you've got the heels via Tyler Breeze interference. I'll take the baby faces with, I'm going to say Neville pinning Barrett, you know, because it's not like they haven't done that before. So I'll just go with that.
Yeah, I don't care enough to pick a pinning combination. I think, yeah, I'm going with the heels here. So now that we're done, and you know what, John, before we even get into the main card, I want to just say something that's really horrifying. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
Every single match on this card has happened in the last 2 months already.
Wow.
Even Taker Lesnar just happened at SummerSlam, which was 2 months ago, almost
Right.
today.
Yeah. Oh,
Every
man.
single one of these matches we've seen at least once in the last 2 months.
That's crazy, man.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That again, I think you look at this card, and like I said, you look at the people, like the spots that they're in, and then you look at what you just said about the timing and everything. This card just exemplifies all of WWE's problems in just one concentrated area. It's unbelievable.
And to take that a step further, even the fact that their main event is 2 part-time guys exemplifies it even more.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
You know what? Let's stop complaining so much, although it's not really going to happen throughout the whole show. And let's get into the main card. Crazy thing is, John, this looks almost like it might as well be a Night of Champions because you've got all 5 championships being defended on this show, plus 2 Hell in a Cell matches.
Yeah.
Why don't they just combine Night of Champions and the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view and just make that a 4-hour show?
Maybe. I mean, you might as well, right?
Just put it at the beginning of October rather than having one in mid-September and one at late October.
Right.
There's an idea. Only have one pay-per-view between SummerSlam and Survivor Series.
I know, right? Wouldn't it be crazy actually cutting back on our content so people can breathe and enjoy the content we do put out more? No, what a crazy idea.
Enjoy what content, John?
Exactly.
I haven't enjoyed WWE content since the Monday after SummerSlam.
I think you and I are just jonesing for our Lucha Underground Season 2 fix. January
Right?
can't come here fast enough.
Yeah, that's so true. And not only that, but January is when WWE programming picks up as well.
Yeah. Just look into WrestleMania season, folks. Yeah.
All right, so what match do you want to talk about? Because we're probably going to have Reigns Wyatt and Lesnar Taker main eventing. Those are going to be our two main events. Of course, Lesnar Taker is going to go on last, I'm guessing. But then we've also got a World Championship match, Rollins Kane, 2 relatively important mid-card title matches, Cena in the Open Challenge and Owens Ryback. The tag titles are being defended, and the Divas Championship is being defended.
You know, dude, I was gonna say let's just go with the more straightforward mid-card match to me, and that's Owens Ryback. I think again, that doesn't really get any more straightforward. I'm fully expecting Kevin Owens to retain here.
I agree.
There's
Yep.
yeah, you know, there's just no reason to think that Ryback's gonna, you know, win the championship back. I think the Intercontinental title needs Kevin Owens, honestly, more than Kevin Owens needs the Intercontinental title.
No
I think
kidding.
the world. Yeah, I think the world of Kevin Owens. I still think when you give him something good to do and you give him the time to do it, he's one of the best in the game today, without question. So I'm still looking for him to do great things in the Intercontinental title. I'll come out and I'll say it right now, even though I know I'm really like jumping the gun here and like going really fast. I do love your personal idea for Kevin Owens' WrestleMania season where it's him versus Zayn for the title. I
Yeah.
want us to get there, and he's not going to get there, by losing this match. So Kevin Owens to beat Ryback. And personally, I'd like this to be clean. Probably not because he is a heel, but it would be nice to see him just beat Ryback definitively. No thumb in the eye or anything like that because Kevin Owens is that good, and he's the type of heel where I can believe it. So Kevin Owens to retain.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the result, but I'm not getting my hopes up for that style of
Right.
finish.
Yeah.
It's going to be, oh, what's Kevin Owens doing? He just low blowed Ryback, and the ref wasn't looking. And now he's rolling him up, and now he's grabbing the tights. Kevin Owens is cheating in every way imaginable. No wonder he won.
Yeah. But at least we're both agreed Kevin Owens retains. Unless you got anything more to say, we can move on.
No, I agree. And you know what, John? I'm gonna make a call here. I want you to know, or I want you to let me know if you think this is going too far. This is kind of my way of spitting in WWE's face. Since we're talking about these matches in order of importance, let's talk about the world title match next.
Might as well.
It's not important. No one cares. Kane's not winning. This is WWE's shitty way of writing the corporate Kane character off.
But you know what pisses me off about this match, Ashton? Even more than the fact that it's happening.
The fact that Rollins has already been beaten clean by Kane.
That too, which is a disgrace. And I even told you, if we were still doing Raw 2 hours, that would have been my biggest heat of the night, probably since that segment's inception, to be honest, because there is just nothing more mind-numbing than that crap. But I don't want to get off on a rant about that because that was the past. I want to focus on this actual match. What pisses me off the most, I don't think this is going to be the end of the feud because I guarantee you, I would bet the shirt on my back and the house that I'm in right now, Rollins wins this match, right? I don't think there's going to be a title change here.
Do you think that we're going to get like a Team Rollins versus Team Kane SummerSlam or Survivor Series match, or do you think that they're not going to be in a Survivor Series match and they're just going to go against each other again?
No, even worse, because what I'm conceiving, and again, I'm probably jumping the shark at least halfway, because there is one half I will stand staunchly behind. These two are going to meet again at Survivor Series for the
I
WWE
agree with
World
you on
Championship.
that. I do agree with that.
I personally think they're going to do something crazy and stupid because of like who's involved. It's probably going to be like a buried alive match or some kind of stip match. But I guarantee you Monday night on Raw, after this pay-per-view, Seth's going to have this big celebration how he got rid of Corporate Kane, but then they're going to be like, oh, the stipulation was only to get rid of Corporate Kane. Demon Kane is still employed. Right. And it's going to tick me off so bad because like
I'm transparent.
It's transparent, and
you're actually expecting your audience to be surprised.
And you know what, Ashton? Like, I don't want to rant here, and I'm not angry at anybody. I can't make that clear enough because I know it may seem like I'm coming off like a jerk to some people, but this is really a crying shame for Seth Rollins. Because I have seen so many people say that they're like over the type of champion that he is and this and that. And I feel like Seth Rollins has done the best that he can. I feel like WWE has failed Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
And it's because of programs like this. That's why it's such a crying shame that a guy this talented, who actually made the effort to improve significantly on the mic and has just got a great presence and everything else, he is getting royally screwed to the point where everybody's just waiting for him to turn babyface so he can quote unquote really shine, when I feel like he can already really shine if you put him in a program that people can give a shit about.
John, I just want to cut you off right there. Do you want to know why people are just begging for them to turn Rollins face?
Why?
Because baby faces are allowed to win in WWE.
And I think they're just tired of seeing Seth lose. I mean, he lost to Kane on Monday night. Good God, or it was 2 weeks ago. It wasn't this Monday because they had the whole...
That's what I'm saying, though, John. People want the people that they like to win. And Seth Rollins has become somebody that a lot of people either like or want to like.
Right.
And it's really hard to get behind somebody who acts like a douche and loses all the time at the same time.
And you know what? I know, people probably always took my posts, if you do follow Puitov, like I say to do at the end of every 2 episode, about my post kind of supporting Seth Rollins. But, even though I'm trying to make light of it and laugh about it, there is legit and sincere criticism there. It still doesn't make any sense to me that the champion, that the authority picked, because I'll use the stable name, I was trying to think of another word, but screw it. The authority picked, and then they're like, oh, but Seth, you gotta prove yourself. My ass, he's gotta prove himself. What else does he need to do? And then when he's like, oh, Demon Kane is here and he could kill us all, it really looks like a problem, guys, being a part of the team. And then they're just like, oh, Seth will take care of it. And then the same night he gets dragged down to Hornswoggle's house. It makes no sense to me. I hate this. I hated it when Randy Orton was a part of it, the hot and cold BS. I hate it now with Seth Rollins. And, I think I read one excellent column or I watched one commentator talk about the Authority, and they made a great point. I think why I'm so over it, Ashton, is like Seth Rollins is the only one really suffering here. Triple H and Stephanie don't take any kind of comeuppance at all, and when they do, it's quickly washed away, as was the case with Survivor Series. They suffered a comeuppance, and then, it wasn't even a full month later, I don't feel like, and they were back in power. Say what you will about Vince, but when he was a TV character, he took a lot on the chin.
Yeah.
And I'm just so over this Authority crap because nobody's willing to suffer anything except Seth, who you feel sympathetic for because he always says, we need to think of a plan. What are we going to do? This, that, and the other. And they're just like, it'll work itself out. Like, I'm so over it, dude, that it's not even like I think Seth's a bad babyface. I think he can be a great babyface. It's just they have screwed him over because the writing is so bad. How can you even hate this man? I feel bad for him every time he deals with this crap. And you know what? I'm just going to get back to the matchup here. Seth retains. I'm going to even say clean. Not clean. I should say like by pinfall or submission. It won't be like any DQ or thing like that. We will get like that type of finish, but they're going to do that damn loophole. Demon Kane still employed, rematch of such and such a Survivor Series, and then hopefully Seth can put this behind him because my God.
I'm going to say they haven't done a Buried Alive match since the product went PG, so I'm going to say casket match instead.
Yeah, casket match probably. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so over it.
Maybe an ambulance match.
That would be good.
That almost seems like the PG answer to the casket match, doesn't it?
Actually, it even kind of ties in the story a little bit because after Brock Lesnar shattered Kane's ankle and Seth Rollins stomped on it, Kane was taken away in an ambulance. Then Seth tried to send him in one again, but then Kane came out in his costume and he pretty much used some, I don't know, voodoo shit, whatever, demon shit, and worked the leg out. So yeah, an ambulance has kind of played a part. That would actually make the most sense, oddly enough.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, you know what I think frustrates me most about this whole situation?
Oh, brother, have at it. What is it?
I know it's going to seem really petty, but what frustrates me most is that in a couple months, when they do finally decide to turn Seth face, they're going to twist it and turn it and make it seem like they had been building Rollins up to turn face the whole time. When in reality, they're just doing a really shitty job of booking him as a heel.
I know, dude. It's horrible.
WWE, and this is what they did with Daniel Bryan, too. They found a way to make it seem like Daniel Bryan main eventing WrestleMania 30 was the plan all along, when we all know that it wasn't. Everybody that follows dirt sheets, that follows Reddit, that follows any kind of reporting website on wrestling knows that the plan headed into WrestleMania 30 was Batista Orton and Bryan versus Sheamus.
Yeah.
Punk leaving made them kind of get their panties in a wad a little bit. Then they were going to do Bryan versus Triple H, and then people were still incredibly angry. And that's the thing too. They had Bryan come out and cut a promo talking about how he wanted to fight Triple H. So they were literally using Daniel Bryan as a tool for them to try and get the crowd behind the idea of him not main eventing WrestleMania. And people saw through it and they rebelled against it.
Right.
And now they're going to do something very similar with Rollins, where there's going to be this moment in maybe December, maybe January, where he ends up turning face, and it's this big, awesome moment, and they're going to act like all this stuff that the Authority was putting him through, and he finally decided to turn on them, when right now, it doesn't seem like they're trying to make it seem like the Authority is putting him through this stuff because they want him to turn face. They're making it seem like the Authority is doing this because it's trying to get the Authority over its heels.
Exactly.
It's just really bad writing that they make up for with revisionist history.
Yep. So we're both agreed then. Seth retains.
Seth retains.
All right, let's move on.
Tag match. New Day, Dudley's. I'm going to say Dudley's win. uh, just because this feud's going to last till the end of the year. Dudley's win here, we'll probably get a 5-on-5 match that involves all 5 members of these 2 factions at Survivor Series, and then a tables match at TLC for the titles, where the New Day will probably win them back.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I'll be honest, I did kind of go back and forth with myself a little bit because I was thinking, well, maybe they want to make this go on so long that the Dudleys would actually win the titles, not retain them at TLC. In the same scenario you just painted, tables match. But I'm thinking, you know what? And no pun intended here. The table's been set. Xavier Woods got taken out. He's out of the equation. The Dudleys have already lost 2 prior times, the Madison Square Garden special most recently, and then what was the pay-per-view we
Night
just
of
got?
Champions.
It was Night of Champions, yeah. So you figure 2 straight losses. I think third time's got to be the charm here. Dudleys are going to win. But here's the thing, though, and I do want to say this. I don't know if the Dudleys will be long-reigning champions. I could even see New Day being 3-time tag team champions before the end of the year.
That's
But
what I
think,
said. I said that the New Day was going to win the titles in the tables match at TLC.
I thought you said the Dudleys were going to retain. I'm sorry.
No, I had New Day winning that match. That's like the ultimate heat object,
Right.
because that's like Cena beating Edge in the TLC match. That's like ultimate heat magnet right there.
Right, except Cena was the babyface, so that just shows you how hilarious that is. But yeah, I agree with your assessment, especially because, like, again, I don't want to jump the gun here, but since we're already kind of filling in WrestleMania, like we see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn Intercontinental title, like that was your big thing. I see New Day Usos at WrestleMania,
Oh
so
God.
yeah, I didn't say I like it. I just said that's when I
Oh,
saw it. So yeah,
just made
Dudley's
my
win here.
stomach churn.
Hey, how do you think I feel? But yeah, Dudley's win the titles here.
All right, let's talk about the Divas Championship. Charlotte and Nikki Bella. You know, if this was NXT, Charlotte retains, no problem. But it is WWE. Would anyone really be surprised if they put the title back on Nikki?
Um, I would be. I think what makes me groan is I don't even think this is over. And I am just again, much like Seth Rollins Kane, I'm so over it. Like I'm just
Do you
waiting
know
for
what I
such
think my biggest problem with this whole thing is?
what's that?
Like, I don't have a problem with the Bellas being in the Divas division and being featured. My problem is that the way that they write and book the Divas division, it makes it seem like the Bellas are the only thing that matters in the Divas division. The Divas division revolves around the Bella twins.
Right. And I think
Every single match, whether it's on Raw or on a pay-per-view, involves one or both of the Bella twins.
and I think to add on to your criticism, I think this pay-per-view, I mean, I don't want to make it any worse if people would disagree with me here than it already kind of looks on paper. But I feel like they missed an opportunity here. Like I'm hating that Paige had that scathing promo, right? And I'm
And
thinking,
now they're trying
oh,
to make it seem like she was just letting off steam and she wants to be with PCB again.
well, she was letting off steam, but and that does bother me. You're right, but I think even more so specifically, this could have been a chance to get Becky Lynch on the pay per view because you had Paige pretty much say that you're irrelevant and that you're never. She literally told Becky Lynch to her face, and I know you saw it and everybody saw it. You're never gonna be Divas champion. Why wouldn't you stand up for yourself and not even listen to like a second of Paige's crap and build to a Hell in a Cell a matchup at the Hell in a Cell pay per view? Um, that's what I'm not understanding. Instead, PCB is caught in all this drama. Oh, did Paige mean it? Didn't she mean it? I don't care. Like, already, I feel like what could have been an interesting heel turn for Paige, I'm already kind of apathetic about because I'm like, there isn't anything revolutionary about this. And then I think, I'll be honest, like, my feelings do play a part. I can't be completely objective. I am kind of miffed that, again, we're just all waiting for Sasha Banks to get her turn. How she hasn't even been added to this match when she's already beaten, Nikki Bella multiple times and Paige and just any relevant person in this whole thing is beyond me. My concern is that this is going to be like a DQ finish or something, and that Nikki will still have a claim to the title. When I just want Sasha to get in that spot already. But I think out of that confidence, I'm going to say that Charlotte retains clean. Nikki moves on to something else, and poor Becky, I don't know, will just continue twiddling her thumbs, which just really aggravates me. So that's my prediction.
Oh, John, I'm sorry that I'm about to say this, but it's the truth.
Don't you do it, man.
I care less about the Divas right now than I did before the revolution started.
Oh, thank goodness. I mean that's still bad. I mean, I'm not offended that you said that. I thought you were going to tell me that you thought Nikki Bella was going to regain the championship. I was about to really go into shock there, but I can understand it, man. I can
Like
totally understand that.
before this whole quote unquote revolution thing, when it was just Nikki Bella and Paige for the most part, I would at least watch their pay per view matches. But now, I I even hate to throw this word out there because it's become such a horrible term, but I almost feel like Charlotte and Nikki Bella is a bathroom break for me.
And you know what? Like, I don't want to speak for you or anybody that shares your sentiments, but I think part of the reason for that, and this might sound horrible, and forgive me, this is one time I don't mean to offend, but I think it's because when you make these grand proclamations and oh, we're having a revolution, like you're optimistic, right? And you're eagerly awaiting something. I feel like we cared more maybe because we were conditioned in the whole bathroom break mentality and we wanted better for the women. But then when you get promised better for the women and they don't deliver, I think it just leaves you so deflated, like, well, it's always going to be a lost cause, isn't it? Just always. And I think that's it. I think we got promised this stuff. We invested our hope in it. It hasn't panned out the way we thought it would. And I think we're even more deflated than before because at least before we were conditioned to associate, oh, they view women as bathroom breaks. And we just kind of dealt with it despite always fighting for better, whether, through commentaries, airing our criticisms or Twitter or whatever. But
Yeah,
after
and that was
this,
my thing
yeah,
too. Back then, back before this whole revolution thing, I was always one of the people that said, I think Nikki Bella can put on a decent match, and I know Paige can, so maybe I'll give this match a shot. And then if it went for maybe 8 or 9 minutes and it wasn't bad, I would be like, hey, you know what? That was a pretty good match. That was a fun match, knowing what the WWE typically has their women do. But now it's Charlotte, and it's NXT women that are up there, and the fact that Nikki Bella is still involved in a pay-per-view match after all the stuff that's happened, I just don't have any hope anymore.
I don't blame you. I don't
Because that's my
know.
thing.
Yeah.
Nikki Bella can work a decent match when her opponent is someone like Paige, who can sell and work over the audience and that kind of stuff. Nikki Bella isn't a good worker. I'm not trying to say she's bad. I know she's improved a lot. On a scale of 1 to 10, she used to be about a 3, now she's about a 6.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair assessment, I think.
But it's
And
not
yeah.
good enough.
No, no, not for the spot that she's in. No, it's not. And again, like,
That's
yeah,
freaking that was I feel like that's kind of the problem that I had with Bo Dallas when he won the NXT title. Is I felt like he wasn't a good enough performer to be in that spot. He was, maybe I wouldn't have said a 6 back then, but he was definitely around that. And he ended up growing into an amazing performer, maybe an 8 or a 9. Not even technical in ring stuff, just the ability to improvise on the spot and the comedy stuff and the character work and that kind of stuff. Nikki Bella, A, has no character. B, is about a 6 out of 10 in the ring. C, can't act worth a lick. And D, really just flat out isn't interesting anymore. Not that she ever really was exceptionally interesting, but now now that she is in a division with character actors like Becky, like Paige, like Sasha, and in the same division now where Natty is starting to get some in-ring work, and we already know how great Sasha and Becky and Paige and even to a degree Charlotte can be in the ring. And I would even say Alicia Fox is better than Nikki. Nikki Bella should be a mid carder in this division, and yet she's still getting this main event rub.
right.
It makes
And
no sense to me. And the thing is, even if I wasn't a fan of hers, that doesn't necessarily mean that I wouldn't want to watch a match just because it involved her in it. But the last couple months, I've noticed that when it's Charlotte versus Alicia Fox or Sasha versus uh, I I can't even say anyone else. Brie Bella, even. I feel like Brie Bella, when she's in the ring, when she's on offense, it's awful. But when somebody else is on offense, she sells. Sometimes she oversells, but she at least sells offense. Nikki Bella doesn't. She's awful. Nikki Bella is the worst at selling in the Divas division by about a mile. And I think the one thing for me about Nikki Bella that takes her from an she doesn't deserve to be here. I wish somebody else was here. To please get her off my television is her finishing sequence. The punch and then the
Right.
rack attack is the most contrived thing I've seen in wrestling since the 619.
Yeah. I think since you already kind of covered all the territory that's Bella related, I think another frustration I have is even if I'm right, and say that Charlotte does beat Nikki Bella clean, you watch, Paige is just gonna hotshot and somehow it's gonna be Paige versus Charlotte at Survivor Series, which isn't bad. But I think again, like, I don't know why. I mean, I'm not even the biggest Becky Lynch fan. I just hate the idea of her being left out in the cold. Like you got blatantly disrespected, and you're not even gonna get a piece. Like that's my thing. It's almost like, and I don't want to believe this, and I don't want to be that guy, but I just got to be honest with how I feel, and this is the best place to do it. It's
Well, that's why
almost
I'm
like
saying, though, John, that's why I'm saying that the Divas division revolves around the Bellas. If one
right,
of the Bellas said something like that about Becky, we would have gotten a Becky Lynch versus insert name of Bella here, whether it be Nikki or Brie. But because it was Becky and it was Paige, and neither one of them are Bellas, we can't have a match in between two divas that doesn't involve a Bella.
right.
That's what I'm saying. Everything since this whole Divas Revolution started has revolved around the Bellas. When was the last time you saw just throwing out random names, Becky Lynch versus anybody not on Team Bella?
I can't even remember.
I feel like I've seen Becky Lynch versus Brie Bella about 6 times.
Good God.
I can't. You know what? You know what I would really love?
What's that?
Even if it's just a random 10-minute match on SmackDown, Becky Lynch versus Naomi.
Yeah.
Or
Just
how about
yeah.
let's get the power players involved. Let's do Charlotte versus Tamina.
Right.
Every single freaking match has to have a Bella in it.
I know, dude. I know,
Has
and you know what?
anybody
Yeah.
else noticed this?
You know what? We probably have, but we're just so numb to it because I think the Bella's kind of being, and I hate using this term because it just makes me think of the Authority and that whole prior rant, but the face of the Divas division. I think we're just kind of used to it, but we shouldn't be when all this great talent is here. I mean, good God, the idea that the Bellas are still dominating when Sasha gets bigger pops out of like any of these women, like we want Sasha chance on a regular basis.
And that's another thing too. I don't. I feel like Sasha and Becky would be on the exact same level right now if it wasn't for the crowd reaction.
Yeah,
Because they get booked the same way. They both get about the same amount of matches. The only reason we say Sasha's in a better place is because she has a bigger crowd reaction.
yeah, crowd loves her. I mean, to the point where, I mean, I'm sure you've heard it as well as I have. A babyface turn is being contemplated. I'm
And that's
assuming if
that's my thing too, and I feel horrible for saying this, but I don't know why the crowd loves her. She hasn't had any opportunities to make the crowd love her.
probably because they're educated on NXT. That's probably the only reason I can think of, dude, is they know her work in NXT and they want to see that here. Which, in a way, I'll be honest, and I don't blame you for feeling the way you do, but like to me, I think that's the only hope I have left is that this crowd is invested in Sasha because A, at least they're invested in somebody, genuinely invested in somebody, and B, they're watching NXT, they know what women do there, they got a taste of it, and they want the same here. They're like, oh, they do this here, we want you to do this there, but it's just not enough. Like I want to get excited about like a babyface Sasha potentially feuding with a jealous, bitter, still heel Naomi because
Why
she's
would
been
you
heel this
want?
whole time.
Why would anybody want Sasha to be babyface again?
Well, look, I'm good with her either way, and I think she's masterful as a heel. But if she's gonna have this crowd support, I mean, I guess WWE wants to run with it. I think Sasha can pull it off. I just want to see her in programs. That's my thing. I don't really give a crap what her alignment is because Sasha's that good;
Yeah,
she could pull it off. I just want to see her in programs. I want to see her do something.
that's my thing though. Is that what got Sasha over was being heel.
Well, I mean, dude, it's not the 80s anymore. Like she's not going to get the heat for doing what she does. People love that kind of stuff. I think fans love people who perform well. Sasha
You know what
performed
I
well,
think my biggest problem with that logic is though?
What's that?
The Bellas.
Hmm. Yeah.
You say, oh, it's not the 80s anymore. The Bellas have been supposed to be heels and yet getting babyface reactions and cutting babyface promos for about a year plus now.
Oh, God. I don't know, dude.
Why are
I
they
don't know.
allowed to do it but not Sasha?
Dude, I don't know. Bella privilege. I don't know. I mean, you look at. I mean, and I hate to go there, but you look at who they're dating. I mean, their mom is gonna marry John Laurinaitis for God's sakes. I mean,
I don't care.
nobody.
Laurinaitis isn't the talent relations guy anymore. He doesn't have that job anymore.
But there's got to be some political clout going on because I can't understand it otherwise. Maybe my brain just can't accept it otherwise without making some kind of a reach because they're not that special. I mean, they're really not. We just got done talking
I
about
mean,
like
you
all the
say
other
they're
pop
not
stars.
that special, implying they are special to any degree, just not a high enough degree. I don't see what makes them special at all.
I don't either. I don't either.
I
It's
mean,
frustrating.
there's a long list of performers that are better than them in one way or another. I feel like they're like the Eva Marie of the main roster. Like Eva Marie is the worst, obviously, but she's also in developmental where she's supposed to be. The Bellas made it to the main roster with their skills or lack thereof.
Yeah. You know what the funny thing is too is that the one person on Team Bella who isn't actually a Bella and Alicia Fox when she was doing her
Is the
whole
only actual talent on the roster or
right
on that team.
and when she was doing like her crazy gimmick where like whether she would win or lose, she would have like these excessive like out there celebrations and stuff like that. Like that was probably the most interesting thing going on at the time, and like she had something going. I
Yeah.
just I don't know, man. Just the whole thing leaves me so deflated. This whole pay-per-view, I've realized that no discussion we've had yet has really been very optimistic. But
And I don't
what
think any of them. I think maybe two. I can think of two, and they're actually probably going to be our next two that will be optimistic.
well,
So
thank goodness. I'm gonna need something to get us through the remaining like cards after that point. But yeah,
yeah,
Charlotte to retain. Charlotte to
yeah,
retain.
I'm going to agree with you. Charlotte to retain as hesitant and just scared that they're not going to go that way as I am. It's gotten to the point now that I struggle to even care. If they would put the title on Nikki Bella, would I be annoyed? Yes. Would I have an outburst? No.
I
I
don't think
just
I would either.
I just
Yeah.
wouldn't care enough to have an outburst. Like the WWE's writing of the divas doesn't deserve that much attention.
It really doesn't. You're right. Oh my
Uh,
god, you're right.
yeah. So let's talk about the open challenge. Who do you think's going to answer it, John?
Okay, this is where it gets interesting, right? Because in conversation with me, I have been all with you. Tyler Breeze, Tyler Breeze, Tyler Breeze.
And I don't think it's going to be Tyler Breeze. I think Tyler Breeze is going to have his spot distracting Ziggler in the six-man tag.
And see, I'm kind of shifting away to like your way of thinking now. I'm starting to shift away from Tyler Breeze. I've heard a lot of interesting answers for the open chat. Like I'm not kidding you. I have heard everything from a returning Daniel Bryan, who's
That
healthy
would
and
be
got cleared,
amazing.
to even, and again, I'm not kidding. Kurt Angle even got thrown out there.
Oh my
So
god.
people are expecting a like
Now
a
I have
big
to ask, who threw Kurt Angle out there?
one of John Canton's friends from the John Report that I read, like my favorite no DQ column, the only one that like doesn't make me die inside. So yeah, it was one of his friends. It's like, oh, Kurt Angle, because I can't stop thinking about it now. So even he knows it's ridiculous, but like he just couldn't like get his mind unstuck on it. So I
Well,
can at
I mean,
least
if
yeah.
that's the case, then I'm going to throw Steve Blackman out there.
Oh, Steve Blackman, what a failure.
Now you're
But
gonna now you're gonna yeah, now you're gonna be able to say though next time you have a conversation about this, I've even heard Steve Blackman's name get mentioned in this case.
yeah, yeah. Um, I do like the idea of
Giant
Brian.
Silva,
Yeah. I
Kurgan.
are we
Can we
good?
bring back Kurgan, please?
No, no, no.
No, you're right, John. Gangrel.
That I can do. Um, I do like the idea of Brian, but I don't think it's gonna happen because I think here's the thing, and again, I don't mean to be a douche. I'm just being honest. I'm not. I think Brian will be back in the WWE ring, but I wouldn't have any expectation of him doing anything because I
My
think he's good.
expectations are so low. I've gotten to the point now that I have just accepted we're never going to see Brian wrestle again, and if we do, it'll be an incredibly pleasant surprise.
Yeah. I mean that's honestly pretty close to where I am. I wouldn't expect him to do anything. Would I love for him to answer this challenge and have a clinic with Cena, sending Cena on his way out? Because for the record, I am putting stock into the rumors that Cena is taking time off.
Till December.
Yeah, till December.
I don't know if you
Yeah,
heard though. I've also heard that Cena is going to be defending the U.S. title in December, but card subject to change. So I don't know.
exactly. Yeah, I would love that, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Tyler Breeze again, because he made the television debut on SmackDown and did the whole thing with Ziggler. That
I don't
kind of
think he's
makes
going to
him.
be on Raw at all, and at least not right away.
I really liked our idea when we talked about it. Well, really, it was you and I just kind of
Just
co-signed
kind of
on over
using
it. Yeah,
SmackDown as that bridge from NXT to the main roster. Yeah.
exactly. So I don't think Tyler Breeze. I don't think Daniel Bryan. You know what? Screw it. I've got nothing to lose. Otherwise, I'm still gonna go. And I always say it's always these two names I come back to. I'm gonna say Samoa Joe answers the
That's
Open
who
Challenge.
I am guessing as well.
Yeah, Samoa Joe to answer the U.S. Open Challenge.
Yep, Samoa Joe's taking the title. He's gonna
Oh,
have that Carlito run in.
so you think he's gonna go all the way? He's actually gonna win the championship?
Don't you?
Um, I am a bit conflicted, to be honest, but you know what? I think if you're going to debut a guy like Joe, you got to do it right. So I'm going to say, I'm going to agree with you. He takes the title off Cena.
Dude, oh my god. I'm not even going to take credit for this. I just saw my mom mouth something to me, and I completely agree with her, and it's actually completely changed my mind. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
It's going to be Dean Ambrose. He's not on this card.
Oh, yeah, but wait. So that match with him and, well, I know Orton got injured, so I actually had an idea about that. So I'm going to stick to my guns about Joe, but I had an idea about Dean
I'm looking at
Ambrose.
the card right now, and there is no mention of the Wyatt family or Dean Ambrose.
Wow. Because I guess I'll just say right now, since I guess we won't be talking about it, I honestly thought that Dean was going to find a replacement. It was going to be Jericho, and they were finally going to jumpstart that feud, but I guess not. Uh,
I
Dean is
think
a
they're
lot
going to
to
use
fix.
Ambrose. I think they're going to use Ambrose to fill the Cena void over the course of his injury.
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that because I'm sure you read the reports like I did. They are planning on like protecting Dean as a top babyface with Cena
Yeah.
taking time off and Randy Orton being out.
Yep.
Yeah, you think about that and you think about everything else. Dean, a two-time United States champion. I like the sound of that.
Well, and
Um,
not only that, but then it's this new, more prestigious version of the United States Championship.
yeah.
It's been held by John Cena and
Oh,
Seth Rollins.
see, and I want to believe because I know like you're the Dean Ambrose runner between the two, but I have been like salivating for him to do something more relevant because I'm not really like I'm
It's
liking
so
Roman
funny
Reigns.
too because I was just reading earlier. Somebody made a post in the Squared Circle subreddit about how Dean Ambrose really does appeal to everyone.
Right.
Like he was a 20-year-old college student, and his 7-year and he had been watching since like 2000 something or something like that. And his 7-year-old cousin or nephew or something like that watching for like 6 months, and they both love Dean Ambrose.
You know what? I like where your mom's going with it. I like kind of where your thought process is going with it, you know, and thinking about her idea. I'll join you guys. I'll switch my position to Dean Ambrose because you know what? It makes sense to me. I feel like Roman Reigns is tied up with Bray Wyatt right now, and I'll give my thoughts on that later when we get to that match. Dean, I think, is going to be left out in the cold with Orton injured, and you know maybe Roman Reigns will want to take care of his own business. They need a top babyface with Orton out and Cena taking time off. All the pieces seem to fit. So yeah, Dean and Cena go for like 20 plus minutes. You have Dean get the win, which would be a huge win for him, which I think he desperately needs. Yeah, I really don't see who loses here. So I'm gonna say Dean Ambrose for the win. I'll join you guys on
How
that.
crazy is that my frickin' mom came up with a better answer than we could think of?
That's amazing.
That's hilarious. Thank you,
Yeah.
mom. All right. So, wow, that escalated quickly, didn't it?
It did. It did indeed. But I'm
I'm
very
gonna
thankful
still
for it.
throw Joe out there as a backup name, but I
Yeah,
definitely
Joe will be my backup name as well.
gonna go
Yeah.
with Ambrose. That's crazy. All right. So now, no more championship matches left to talk about. Just two Hell in a Cell matches. And the other match that I was referring to that we would be optimistic about, Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt. I have to say, as much as I hate how much they're making Roman Reigns talk, this might be the most entertaining feud going on right now.
You know what? I'm enjoying it. I feel like the reformed Wyatt family, which still does include Eric Rowan, much to my genuine shock, in the most recent episode of Raw and whatnot, I guess they're just gonna make the Wyatt family a legitimate family in terms of size, which I don't mind. I'm still interested. The funny thing is, I'm kind of down about this, but I also want to keep an open mind. Despite the fact that this is a Hell in a Cell match, I don't think this is going to be the end of the feud. I do think this feud's going to continue even after Hell in a Cell because I really did believe the year-long rumors, and I think this has only been 5 months now, close to 6, so we still have a bit of a ways to go. That said, I think these two could have a really good Hell in a Cell matchup, and I think that says a lot given that we are in a PG environment. I could see some creative spots happening and all that other stuff. And,
I think that this match is probably going to be the second best match on this card behind Cena's Open Challenge.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah, no contention here. I will say this: I'm getting into Bray again. I am enjoying this stuff again. The Reformed Wyatt family, I think, has done wonders for him. And Braun Strowman, good God, I'm just loving everything that guy's doing. And
And you know what, dude? That's another thing I wanted to bring up. I think Braun Strowman might be my second favorite character to watch on Raw every week right now.
I don't blame you.
With the
Like,
first being Brock. So my favorite full-time guy right now is Braun
right.
Strowman.
I don't blame you, dude. Like, they're getting it right with a guy that looks how Braun Strowman looks.
Yeah.
And this may be hokey and whatever, but the way I see this going down, if you want me to be honest, I see Bray winning, but I see Braun Strowman having a crazy moment in this thing where he tears the cell door open, comes in, and beats the crap out of Roman Reigns, and Bray Wyatt gets his victory.
Yep.
So I say
We're on the
Bray
same
goes over
page
here.
on that, dude. I had the exact same thought. I wasn't necessarily thinking tear the cage door open. I was thinking something more on the lines of somebody got thrown up against the cell door and broke the whole thing down, and then he just happened to be there so that he could just walk in and beat Roman Reigns up.
I will say, to kind of add on to your point, that would be a cool spot if maybe Roman Reigns like speared Bray Wyatt through one of the cell walls. I mean, it
Yeah.
happened in Edge and Undertaker's Hell in a Cell match, so it's not
And
unprecedented.
let's not forget Austin McMahon when the Big Show debuted at St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Big Show threw Austin up against the cage wall. It busted open and he landed on the floor. That was a cage match, not a Hell in a Cell, but still.
Same principle, I think, applies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know what? I love that idea. I mean, it's certainly
I feel
better
like
than
didn't
me.
that happen once with Mark Henry and Sheamus too?
I think it was Mark Henry. Was it Mark Henry and Bobby Lashley, maybe? Because I know Bobby
Yeah,
Lashley.
that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I feel like I remember another moment that Mark Henry went through a door or a wall. I don't know, maybe not.
But I will. You know what? That could have been, who was Mark Henry feuding with? Because I know he was the heel. Was it Sheamus? Maybe.
I
Because you
think
know
it might
what?
have been.
Because you know what I'm thinking with Bobby Lashley. That was his feud with the Umaga. I know Kane broke down a cage door when he was heel, and I think that was against RVD and Mark Henry. It might have been Sheamus. Yeah. I know it was freaking somebody, but yeah, the point we're making, folks, is it's not unprecedented. So I actually like your booking action. I would even like say again, it'll be Roman Reigns spearing Bray through the cell. They're fighting on the outside. That's when Braun Strowman can come in. Again, if you want it to be, and it does have the risk of being cartoonish, but if you really want to show what a monster he is and the strength, again, have him rip off the cage door, maybe even hit Roman Reigns with it.
Was it Mark Henry versus Big Show?
You know what? It probably was Big Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who else could possibly throw Mark Henry up into a wall?
Yeah, really. So I'm glad you and I are in agreement, even with Braun Strowman getting involved. That's kind of a relief because I didn't know if I was making a stretch there. But yeah, I say
Well,
Bray
that's my
Wyatt wins
thing
the
here,
thing.
John, is they've made this significantly more interesting without having the Ambrose Orton Strowman Harper match because now you've just got Bray out there with his entire family at ringside
Yeah,
taking on Reigns, and if Ambrose does answer the open challenge, I doubt he'll be out there to help Reigns.
exactly. So Reigns will really go it alone, which you know what fits the whole
So
kind
you
of
could
narrative.
say that it'll be Reigns one versus all.
Oh my God. You know, I'd say something, but you genuinely made it work. So I just kind of have to shake my head and just kind of let the moment pass. But yeah, it really would be. And you know what? It does kind of fit the whole narrative because Roman Reigns has always been like, oh, I settle my fights myself. And yet you've always got, you know, your training wheels out here. So it would actually make a lot of sense if you continue that even now to get the heat on Bray that even in Hell in a Cell where there's supposed to be no escape and no salvation, you have your family out there and Roman Reigns just gutting this thing alone.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Bray really needs the win here. It'll be his first Hell in a Cell, so that's going to be intriguing, and Reigns as well, I believe. So it's gonna, you know, interesting element there. And yeah, I think it'll be a
Just
great
think,
matchup.
John, last year at this time, we all felt like the company was headed in a good direction. We're all really happy about what the place that the company was in because John Cena had a Hell in a Cell match, and yet the main event was Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. Two young, full-time performers with bright futures ahead of them. And we've got two young performers with bright futures ahead of them on this card. And the main event is Taker Lesnar.
Yeah. Oh, that'll teach you to be optimistic.
Right?
But
That's the
yeah.
thing, though, dude. That's the problem right there. That's exactly. I'm so glad you said that because that is the exact problem. The WWE is teaching people don't believe in our product because if you do, we are going to disappoint you.
Oh, God. It's so sad and soul crushing when you say it like that, but it really is true. Can't really say much more than that.
They're
So,
conditioning us
yeah, they really are. It's sad, actually.
to not believe in them.
Wow, my life is a lie. But yeah, Bray Wyatt to get the win here.
Yep.
Uh,
Well,
all
I
right.
mean, that was kind of meant to be a transition
Well, yes,
to
Brock
take
Lesnar and
Lesnar.
Taker. Yeah, yeah. Um, you know, and I hate to be that guy, but we've pretty much both been that guy. I feel like throughout this whole commentary,
Lesnar's my guy.
the question really shouldn't be who's going to win this match. It's do we even care who wins this match?
Well, simple answer no.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, brother. I'm right there with.
Slightly less simple answer. Maybe if there was, a reason for us to give a crap about either one of these guys in the future, we would. But the fact that they're both part timers and the fact that The Undertaker is pretty close to retirement, I just don't give a crap anymore.
It's
You know
funny
what
because
they could do to make me interested in these two guys?
what's that?
Put them against people that I do care about. Someone like Cesaro, someone like even Ziggler or Neville, or because they're both big, scary guys, Cesaro still fits, but Sheamus or Barrett or even Reigns or Ambrose. I am so sick of old guy versus old guy. Why can't we have old guy versus young guy?
Right, and Ashton, I'm so glad you said that because I was getting ready to say, this match kind of makes me think about our friend Anthony. Like he had this really great post on Tweetov, I think a few weeks ago, where he said, I don't want people complaining to me or getting on my case because I'm not stoked about Taker Sting because this isn't the Taker Sting I wanted. They're both older now. This isn't like Sting in his prime when he was like the Crow and Undertaker, even if he was like the American Badass or whatever. Like, it's just not those guys. They're older versions of themselves. It's not. It's just hype alone, pretty much. And that's kind of how I feel with Taker Lesnar at this point. Like, yeah, on paper, it seems badass, but I already saw this feud when it was going to be at its best back in 2002. And yeah, the WrestleMania match was nice with the story it told with Lesnar being the conqueror. And
But
I
the
can
match
understand.
itself wasn't good, and then their SummerSlam match was better, but the finish was absolutely balls.
Exactly. Absolute garbage, which I think sullied all the preceding work that they did in the match. And now this match I just feel is completely unnecessary. I mean, dude, again, I hate to be that guy, but we have been asking for Orton Lesnar forever, you and I. You and I also have been asking for
Cesaro
like
Lesnar.
Cesaro Lesnar. Taker, I mean, to be fair, and this is where it gets a bit interesting. I mean, I guess we've been saying like Sting is the only last real opponent he can do, but I mean, there are also great young guys he could work with. I'm sure. I mean, depending on who he'd want to work with. But
I
just
still want Cena Lesnar or Cena Taker at WrestleMania.
yeah, I think that'd be a great matchup. I could get invested in a lot more now that the streak is gone because it's more up in the air to me now.
Yeah.
Um, I'm tired of these guys being wasted. And again, especially Lesnar, because Taker's one thing, and I'll always respect the Undertaker and always admire everything he's done for the business. But Lesnar angers me because he's an attraction. We've got him for 3 years, and I always feel like with Lesnar, and I got that vibe too on the Stone Cold podcast we watched of him. He's probably a tough negotiator in the boardroom. He expects top dollar for him to do his thing, as he should. I'm not saying he's wrong in that regard. I'm just saying it's not easy to get him on the table. And we got him there, and we got him for 3 years, and we're pissing it away with The Undertaker.
Yep.
Makes no sense to me because I highly doubt we're going to get Lesnar for another 3 years after this. If we do, it'll be a miracle. I'm not optimistic.
Well, by
So
the time his contract's up, he's going to be over 40, so I just don't see it happening.
I don't even see Lesnar because Lesnar is a guy, and I think you would agree with me here, Ashton, very conscious about his brand and very protective of his brand.
Yep.
I could see Lesnar when he's like in his 40s saying, you know what? if I keep doing this, I know my brand's going to lose value because my performance is going to be diminished because that's what happens when you get older. Things slow down. And he's just going to think, I want to do something else, whether it's go back to my farm, go to another endeavor that isn't completely inhibited by my age. I just think it's time. That's where I see it going. So instead of maximizing these 3 years to build your future, because I'm not saying everybody has to beat Brock Lesnar, simply being in the ring with Brock Lesnar and having a program with him, I think raises your profile. And
Surviving.
surviving Brock Lesnar raises your
I feel like
profile.
that's what happened with Reigns. I mean,
Yeah,
Reigns. Everyone hated Reigns going into the match with Lesnar, and then just the performance that he had, where he spent the entire match getting destroyed by Brock Lesnar, but he survived, and for that people respected him more. People saw him as tough more.
exactly. And instead of doing that for other guys, I mean, whether you like these matchup combinations or not, I think is a moot point in the grander discussion of making guys. You could do Ryback Lesnar, where Ryback could really take it to Lesnar and really look like that feed me more monster he was when he had that hot babyface run when he first came in. Cesaro Lesnar,
Sheamus
which
Lesnar.
Sheamus Lesnar, because Sheamus to me, I still find him more interesting than he's ever been, and I'm still enjoying him, but I feel like his heat has kind of cooled down a little bit. I feel like he could use something like this. Cesaro Lesnar, do we even
That's a
need
dream match.
that's a dream match. I don't even think it needs justification. You even
Orton
have the
Lesnar.
history of both Orton Lesnar, yeah, because
Wyatt Lesnar.
Wyatt Lesnar, good God, that matchup. Especially when you know that Braun Strowman's going to be protecting Bray. Can you imagine a Braun Strowman Brock Lesnar stare down? Like,
I was just gonna say Strowman Lesnar. Hello.
yeah, like we have 3 years, and here's the thing too. Maybe I'd be more lax about it if Lesnar appeared regularly. He doesn't. He appears
No.
sporadically throughout the
He
year.
does basically 3 programs a year.
Exactly.
And a lot of the time, 2 of those programs are with the same guy, and it's just multiple matches. Like
You know,
this year, he had his program with Reigns, and now the 2 final programs of the year are going to be Undertaker.
to put it one way, I look at the Taker Lesnar program, given everything we know about Lesnar's circumstance, as somebody that happens upon this magic lamp, gets just one wish from this genie, and he just says absentmindedly, "Oh, I wish I knew what to wish for," and then poof, it's gone. I feel like we're wasting everything we have with Lesnar because people think, "Oh, they want to see Lesnar Taker. This is a program that will draw eyes." No, no, and here's the funny thing,
This is
right?
a program that would have drawn eyes 8 years ago.
Exactly, but here's where it gets hysterical to me is that like I almost feel like this feud inadvertently is probably the best advertisement for the network because hey, do you want to see this feud but done in an absolutely amazing way? Go on the WWE network and watch their old matches back in 2002 and 3. Like that's what I think of when I
Go
see
watch
this.
The Undertaker grab Paul Heyman by the tie and slam his face up against the cell multiple times.
Dude, I owned No Mercy 2002 on DVD, and I would watch that match like multiple times. I think that's probably still one of my favorite Hell in a Cell matches because Lesnar was a freak, and it was the goddamn Undertaker. So when I look at this match,
And it
and
wasn't, oh, The Undertaker. It was The Undertaker.
the freaking Undertaker, a guy commands respect, multi-time world champion. I will kick your ass and not think twice, dead man. Whereas now it's like, oh, well, here's this
Yeah.
veteran,
Hope he didn't break
whatever.
a hip out there.
And it's funny because I feel like with Taker at the age he is and the
Hope he
point he
didn't
is in
get
his
another concussion out there.
yeah, I hope you don't get another concussion out there. But like with the age he is and the stage he's at in his career, I feel like you could do interesting stuff with the Undertaker and you could tell an interesting story.
I
I'm not
don't.
interested in this story. Like
Did you hear me? I said I don't.
I don't. Well, I mean, I disagree,
I don't.
but
I don't understand. To me, what other than the Bray Wyatt thing that we already got, what left is there for Undertaker to do?
I mean, I guess again outside of that WrestleMania match with Sting, but I feel like you could put him with young heels or even just like heels that need the heat. Like I think of like Sheamus thinking, oh well, I'm going to put that nail in the coffin
Yeah, but
permanently.
nobody would buy it anymore.
You don't think so?
Dude, have we established yet the Taker's over 50?
Yeah,
Because, like, if I would see him and Sheamus, there's no believability to Undertaker doing anything to Sheamus.
right.
Like, I feel like he would swing and his fist would explode into dust.
I just feel like he's at this point in his career. You could maybe tell a story of people really just trying to take him down for good. Now that he's also WrestleMania streak,
I mean, I
he's
could, you
gonna
know
start
how I
being
think it
like,
could work, which they're not going to do because obviously they've already pulled away from it. It could work if Taker was heel. If Taker was heel and he was doing all these dirty tactics and kicking people in the dick like he did with Lesnar a few times, I could buy them using him to build up young baby faces,
right.
but I don't buy him as a top baby face anymore.
I could agree with that. See, that's where I think we could compromise. I do wish they would have been more committed to Taker being heel because I found that to be a very like interesting aspect to the story. Like, here's this guy, he's an old guard, like isn't as fast on the draw anymore,
But
and
he makes
realize
up for it by cheating his ass off.
exactly just
Because
to
even though he's not quick on his feet, he's quick in the head. He's incredibly smart. He's a veteran. He's been around for 30 years. He knows what he's doing.
exactly, and he does it to convince himself that he still has a place here, despite the fact that the business has passed him by.
Yeah, that's
Finally,
the freaking story right there. I would even buy him versus Neville if that was the gimmick.
yeah. Well, dude, that was the great thing about like Big Evil Undertaker in 2002 when he would have matches with guys like Jeff Hardy
You
and
said Big
RVD.
Evil. How about Big E versus Undertaker?
Yeah, really. Like, just
Babyface
yeah.
Big E versus heel Taker trying to cheat it up.
Oh, totally. Oh my God, totally. I mean, you're talking about matches that to me, when Raw was at its best, like when I was a kid, could main event Raws and they would actually give them the time and you'd be on the edge of your seat thinking that the young guy was actually going to pull it off.
Yeah,
Like,
didn't they even do Shelton versus Taker at one point like that?
I don't remember that. I don't
Because I know
remember
they
that.
did Shelton versus Michaels.
Right, and that was yeah, that was that match where I'm like, oh, are they gonna do it? And then Shelton's debut where it was against Triple H, and
Right.
they did that like that. But yeah, I mean, dude, I think that's the perfect You have Taker if they committed to him being heel, you could have worked with the crop of baby faces, which I think is actually even more useful than him working with heels because it seems like almost everybody's a heel today, and the baby faces don't really seem to stand out. So
And
Taker could
that's
really
my
help.
thing too. It's so easy to get heat in the
Yeah,
WWE today. I mean, I know that there are some guys that are supposed to be heel that get cheered, and I think that our champion is the prime example. But when you go that long without winning, that just kind of happens. Seth Rollins is an amazing heel. He does everything in his power to draw heat, and it's just that the way that he's booked is just ruining him. But I mean, look at Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is probably one of the top 5 or so overall performers in the company, and he's just such a scumbag that everyone either hates him or loves to hate him.
right. He's just
And
amazing at what he does, you know?
right, and that's my thing is heels can be a dime a dozen. It takes something special to make a top babyface. And we've already practically had this discussion, but I've already told you, I've already told everybody that's listened to our commentary on it that I don't think WWE wants top babyfaces right now. I think they're perfectly content with a bunch of mid-carders that are interchangeable and replaceable.
Right. And that's
The
really a
issue
shame.
at hand.
Yeah.
I mean, we've
Yeah.
had this discussion what like a month ago now, and
Right.
it's not changed in any way whatsoever.
No, I mean, I'm even thinking, like, can you imagine a heel Undertaker against a guy like Ryback? You know, those two titans like that. I just, you could do so much and give so many guys their babyface momentum back, but they're not going to do it. And again, like, so I guess that's my anger with The Undertaker. Like, if you're
Heel,
going to.
here we go, John. Heel Taker versus Babyface Rollins.
Perfect. Perfect. Like, I guess that's my
Heel
anger now.
Taker versus Babyface Ambrose.
Yeah. Heel Taker
Oh, that
versus
would be
Babyface
so.
Reigns. I mean, if you want to build Reigns up so goddamn much, I mean, yeah, baby.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
But you,
another dude. I could even buy that flipped. I could buy heel Reigns versus face Taker, but they just aren't turning Reigns. I don't know
right.
why. They should. They should have a long time ago, but they just are refusing to do it.
So I guess that's my anger on both sides. Like if Taker's gonna stick around, which if he loves doing it and it's paying the bills, far be it from me to tell him what he can and cannot do with his life, but make contributions while you're there. And
Yeah,
with
that's kind of the problem. That's the thing too, John. That's the issue that everybody had going into WrestleMania was that we all thought that it was going to be Lesnar's last match with the company, and we didn't want it wasted, or in our opinions, wasted on Roman Reigns. We wanted to see something bigger, something better, something that would create a really amazing match, and I don't think anyone thought that it would. And to be perfectly frank, it wasn't a really great match. It was just a good match and better than expectations. But we're having the same problem now, except it's with both of these guys. We don't want the Undertaker to go to waste spending his last, whether it's 6 months or a year and 6 months or 2.5 years or whatever, facing other part timers, just like we don't want to see Lesnar waste the last 3 years of his career away doing the same thing.
Exactly.
We don't want to see the Undertaker. We don't want to see old guys versus old guys. We want to see the passing of the torch. We want to see old guys fighting younger guys and either losing outright or winning in a way that convinces the crowd that the new guys would have stood a chance if not for insert excuse here.
Right, and I think it's just so aggravating because even if both Taker and Lesnar show up on Raw the following night and do whatever, you know they're not going to be at the Survivor Series pay-per-view. At least I don't expect them to be.
I think
They're
Taker
not going to.
will be. I don't know about Brock, but I think Taker will be.
I think it's appropriate because you know his whole relationship with Survivor Series. But like regardless, these guys aren't regulars. Is what I think I'm trying to drive at.
Right. Yeah.
And they're main eventing, and like your main event, one of the most intriguing things is, okay, well, this is the fallout. Like, what's going to be the fallout of the main event? And when it's part timers, like, maybe you'll get that addressed, maybe not even though.
That's
and,
my
you know,
thing too. Is the WWE one thing that they were always incredibly good at in the Attitude Era, and I would even say the Ruthless Aggression era, that they have completely just not even tried to do, especially very recently, is try and hook you. Try and make you want to watch that next show.
Right.
And the way to do that is to have whatever closes your show be something that either raises questions or makes you want to see more of it the following week. Now, they're going to close this show with Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker and them walking out and no follow-up whatsoever.
Exactly. And you know what? This brings me to one of the most depressing parts, like, about Raw in general. And I really am glad that we're just on this break until after TLC to do reviews. Because Ashton, and I hate to always make these comparisons because it just seems like a ruthless beatdown at this point.
WCW 2000?
Well, no. I was going to say, you look at when you and I watch even a good episode of Lucha Underground that maybe wasn't even like wholly amazeballs, but how it ended, we would always be hankering for that next week. When was the last time you watched a Raw and you were eager to get to the next week? Because I can't even remember. Like, I may even have to go into the year territory to think about it. Yeah. Like, holy shit, dude.
I would probably say the Yes movement thing.
Yeah.
When all the fans were in the crowd.
Right.
And you know what? I will also say Brian turning on Bray in the cage.
Yes.
That is legitimately, that's my answer right there. That was the last time that a Raw closed out in a way that made me legitimately want to watch it the following week.
I could co-sign on to that because that moment was still, when I watch it back on like YouTube.
I think I even watched SmackDown that week just to try and get just any kind of follow-up on it.
Right. I feel like WWE has lost that magic because that just feels so long ago to me. Yeah. And I think part of the reason why that worked was you had characters that were still interacting with each other, and then, God, how they capped it off at the Royal Rumble match, I still think makes me cry for Bray because how he was booked in that match is how I wanted him booked in general. But they've lost that kind of spark. I don't look forward to next week anymore for Raw. I mean, you and I, it's even kind of a running joke between us where it's like, hey, John, you excited for Raw? Meh. And then, like...
Not really.
3 hours, dude. 3 hours.
Oh, I know. It's been touched upon.
Yeah, but all for part-timers main eventing a pay-per-view. Like, everything is wrong. Everything is wrong, and it's not going to get any better. Not anytime soon.
No, it won't. Give it 2 months, and it'll get a little bit better, and then another month and a half after that, it'll get a little bit better, and then a month after that, it'll get a little bit better, and then it'll be really good for half a month, and then it'll be really, really, really good for one day, and then it'll just kind of crap again.
Just house of cards, man. Just keep building until it all just comes crumbling down. But yeah, I don't even know if...
I think we're in the crumbling down process, John. A 2.2 last week isn't, that's not the top of the house of cards, trust me.
That's bad. I don't even know if we formally...
Can we just point out that Raw in 2015 is drawing very similar numbers to SmackDown in 2011?
Yeah. Wow. I don't even know if we've formally picked winners yet. I'm gonna go Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely. I did say Lesnar was going to win and then walk out, and then we wouldn't get any follow up.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that in the midst of all the depression. So yeah,
But
Brock Lesnar to get the win because his WrestleMania program, I would hope, in WWE's eyes, is significantly more important. So there you go.
so now that we've officially gone over an hour, we can close this thing out, right?
Absolutely.
Oh man. Well, John, how much more forward to this show are you looking now that we've actually done preview and predictions for it?
I think this might actually be a first. I'm looking forward to it less now after that conversation. I'm gonna have to get on some kind of hotline. Like I'm watching Hell in a Cell, and I can't do it alone. My friends here with me, but I just need a giant support network right now. Just so depressing.
So
Oh,
are you down to like a 4 now, or?
I think I'm in the negative. Why are you giving positive integers to the feeling? I think we need to like go in negative territory. I'd honestly, I'd say,
Well, I mean, the Open Challenge is still happening,
yeah, that open.
and Reigns versus Wyatt is still happening.
I'd say for that I'm 2 to 3. Oh god. And then honestly, like if the U.S. Open Challenge is just mad, depending on who answers it, because I'll pop.
The U.S. Open Challenge is none other than Mark Henry.
And then like Bray and Roman ends with some kind of, I don't know, something on par with that creepy children's choir or something else, and
Or Roman just wins clean.
Roman just wins clean. I
Gotta
don't
make
know.
Roman look strong.
This commentary has actually made me question every decision I've ever made in my life. But yeah, there's some anticipation there. What was that?
That's depressing.
Well, yeah, that was pretty much this whole commentary. But guys, it's just us being honest. Like I'm glad we can laugh about it.
I mean,
but
here's the thing: if nothing else, this preview and predictions did nothing but reaffirm that our decision to not do Raw reviews between SummerSlam and TLC was 100% the right call.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, folks. I mean, you might be dreading this commentary right now, but just think about what a great position you're in, because you could be hearing commentaries on par with this every single Monday, and instead, like, you're probably only going to hear it once a month if the pay-per-view looks really bad. And honestly, this wasn't even a well-booked show. I feel like other shows, even when WWE was in this kind of rut, like Night of Champions last month, we were more optimistic about that. So this is a rare occurrence.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I mean, we brought up Extreme Rules 2014 and how bad that was, and how, we were talking about how, nothing actually happened except for the fact that we just had a bunch of matches with no consequences. The irony there is that match, that pay-per-view, was also Daniel Bryan versus Kane for the world title.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Oh, Kane.
Why do they insist on shoehorning him in on the world title picture for no reason?
Oh, that night he dragged Seth Rollins down the ring was symbolic of him dragging down the ratings. Oh, man.
He symbolized the writers. Seth Rollins symbolized the talent. And the ring symbolized the brass ring.
I just want to thank you, too, for your defense of Seth Rollins, because you summed it up just right when you're like, Seth is doing everything right. It's everybody else that's doing everything wrong. I'm just glad we got that cleared up.
I mean, I didn't say those exact words, but you're paraphrasing, so I'll let you go.
Yeah, exactly. I think there are far worse crimes being committed right now.
All right, people. We're excited for WrestleMania, maybe.
No. You know what? Screw that. You know what I'm excited for? Lucha Underground Season 2, people.
Yeah!
That's what I'm excited for.
And I love Lucha, but I'm not gonna snub it. I am also looking forward to NXT.
Yes, NXT.
Wednesdays have become my official wrestling purge. They cleanse my body of all of the evils and wrongdoings done by the previous Raw and potentially pay-per-view on Sunday.
Exactly. You know what, people? I just want to close out by saying this. Me and Ashton recently we watched, which is a great series, by the way, one of the few original shows on the network I would recommend, Table for Three, Diamond Dallas Page, Vader, and Sting. And DDP was talking about how WCW at the beginning of its downfall was when they introduced Nitro Thunder, an extra block of programming. And he was just like, man, it was so much content. Really makes
3 hours, he said.
3 hours. Think about it, people. Learn from history. Somebody important has got to learn from history, because my God, I can't do it. I can't. So yeah, that was a really like foreboding episode.
I feel like this is just a hilarious prank where the WWE, it's funny because they put out all these shows like the rise and fall of WCW. All right, guys, all we want you to do is talk about all of the horrible mistakes WCW made. And they're starting to talk, and then like halfway through their discussion, like, huh, a lot of these things I'm saying are kind of ringing a little bit close to home. Do I have to do this?
Oh man, that moment of self-awareness though.
Yeah, like
Oh
I'm
jeez.
just, and the thing is, it'll never happen because he's so absorbed in his work and in his bubble that he's never going to have the opportunity to take a step back and realize it. But I'm just waiting if that moment ever happens where Vince realizes how much he's doing today that is similar, if not exactly, what WCW did wrong in 2000.
Oh my god, that day will never come. I'm sure there's
Well,
still a
I
part of
already said that, but
yeah. No, I'm just reaffirming. You
right.
know, yeah.
Yeah, it's eerie.
There's still a part of that man, I guarantee you, that thinks that the XFL was a good idea. I'm telling you, like,
Oh,
uh,
I wish I wasn't actually one of the people that watched that.
oh, the things we go to our grave with. Don't worry about it.
Man,
We
I'm a
yeah.
he hate me mark. What can I say?
Yeah. All right. I got nothing else to say about this show. I think I just want to go slink in a corner for a little while and think about my life. So, yeah, unless you have anything
Nah,
else to
we'll
say,
watch some
go
YouTube
home.
videos. You'll be back up and running in no time.
You're probably right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been John. What adjective do I use here?
It's been fun. I don't
Has
know.
it though?
I don't know.
That's what I was thinking about using, but I second guessed it because
It,
has it
you know,
really?
you know what? Because I am an aspiring douchebag, I'm gonna go with the douchiest response I can think of. Folks, it's whatever you wanted it to be. That's what this was.
No, no. How about this? How about this? Are you ready for this?
What's that?
It's been honest, folks.
There you go.
There you go. It's been a really honest commentary today. We hope you enjoyed our honesty. We know we did, to a degree. I can hear
I'm just
John.
gonna laugh. That's the only contribution I have.
We're going to see you guys for the pay per view tomorrow for the live reactions. Hopefully, it doesn't suck too bad.
Oh,
See you, everyone.